and today is a Q&A weekend episode where we answer your question right here on the show. If you have a question, just email us at contact@100mba.net, or you can send me a tweet. Biz Republic is my handle, BIZ Republic. As always, I'm your host, your coach, your teacher, Omar Zenhom. I'm also the co-founder of the $100 MBA, a complete business training and community online. And today's question comes from Manesh. And Manesh says, what is an SSL certificate and why do I need it for my website? Good question, Manesh. There's a lot of business websites that have SSL certificates, including ours, the $100 MBA. And I'll explain why you would need one. I'll also show you how you can get one. I'll get into all that in today's episode, so let's get down to business. Today's episode of the $100 MBA Show is sponsored by Intuit QuickBooks. If you work for yourself, you could save up to 50% for an entire year of the new QuickBooks Self-Employed. It helps separate your business and personal expenses so you can quickly track what you spend for your work and what you spend for yourself. QuickBooks Self-Employed helps take the guesswork out of estimated federal quarterly taxes. So come tax time, you know how much money to set aside for Uncle Sam and how much stays in your pocket. Try QuickBooks Self-Employed and save up to 50% at tryselfemployed.com/MBA. That's try, selfemployed.com/MBA. So Manesh asks, what's an SSL certificate and why do I need it for my website? So we're going to get a little technical at the start here. An SSL certificate actually stands for Secure Sockets Layer. And it's basically an encrypted, secure connection with your server. And a easy to find sign that an SSL certificate's in action is when you see that little lock symbol in your browser. And that means it's a secure connection with the server. Now, an SSL certificate is not usually used or required for every page on a website. It's usually used only for pages that need to be extra secure. And you can guess which pages those are. Your checkout pages when somebody's putting in their credit card information. You want to make sure that the security on those pages and the connection between their computer and your server is extremely secure and encrypted. The other pages on your site, like your blog, your homepage, your contact page, they don't really need to be secure because they're public pages. Now, if you're using a shared host and not a dedicated server, your SSL certificate will slow down your connection because it's encrypted. The SSL technology takes a little bit of bandwidth. So that's why a lot of people don't use SSL on every single page because they're on a shared server and they only want to use it on the pages that are important. And you can control this on your website. If you're not sure how to do this, you can just contact your host. So we use HostGator, and HostGator is a sponsor of our show. So you can contact them with their customer service via chat or phone, and you could tell them, I want to install an SSL certificate. They can actually give you an SSL certificate. SSL certificates are an annual requirement, so you have to pay every year. And it's not that expensive. It's about $20 or something a year. And they can allow you to purchase that and install it for you. And you can let them know which pages or which URLs you want SSL to go through. Now, a lot of people don't know that the lock symbol on your browser, it correlates to SSL. That's basically their indication that your site is secure. A lot of people look for it when they're checking out. And if you don't have an SSL certificate, you're really putting your customers' credit card information in danger. This is why an SSL certificate is so important. Now, if you're using an external payment gateway, like PayPal, for example, where they get off your site to pay for PayPal and then come back, that's a different story. PayPal is SSL certified and they have their certificates in place and it's secure. It's when they're on your site and they're checking out on your site. So if you want to see this in action, you can go to 100mba.net and you can pretend that you're checking out to the $100 MBA and purchasing a membership to the $100 MBA. And you'll see that the checkout page where you fill out your information is secure with our SSL certificate. And actually, if you click on the actual lock icon, it will give you an option to show certificate. And then you can click on that and you'll see the certificate that we have purchased. That's our SSL certificate. It says this certificate is valid. You could trust this site. It tells you when the actual certificate expires too. And every year I have to renew our certificate. Now, if I didn't have an SSL certificate, a lot of websites will have a pop-up when there's some language on the site that is requiring you to put credit card information and say, this page is not secure. Do you want to proceed? This can really cost you a lot of sales. A lot of people feel like, oh my gosh, maybe this site's a scam. maybe it's not a scam, but it's not secure, and I'm not able to, trust them with my credit card information. I don't want to have to deal with fraud. So it can cost you a lot of sales if you're checking people out on your site. So make sure you have an SSL certificate. It's a really minimal investment, and it allows you to look pro and have a professional checkout experience. Now, there are business websites that don't need an SSL certificate. I'm going to get into those in a second, but before that, I got to give love to today's sponsor, Intuit QuickBooks. Guys, if you work for yourself, you could save up to 50% on an entire year of QuickBooks Self-Employed. QuickBooks Self-Employed helps you separate your business and personal expenses, so you can quickly track what you spend for work and what you spend on yourself. For instance, those flights you booked for a business conference won't get mixed up with the flights you booked for that great vacation at the Bahamas. QuickBooks Self-Employed also helps you take the guesswork out of your estimated quarterly and year-end taxes. So come tax time, you know how much money to set aside for Uncle Sam and how much money stays in your pocket. QuickBooks also provides you the tools to help maximize deductions like home office and mileage, so you could keep more of your hard-earned money. Find out what QuickBooks Self-Employed could do for you and save up to 50% at tryselfemployed.com/MBA. That's tryselfemployed.com/MBA. So there are business websites that don't need an SSL certificate, and those are sites that don't really do any credit card transactions online. Many service-based businesses like photographers, videographers, web developers don't actually have a checkout process. They have a portfolio, they have an about page, they have a contact page, but they do all their transactions offline, either through a check in the mail or a wire transfer or maybe through PayPal. These things don't actually happen on the website. And if that's the case, you do not need an SSL certificate because you don't have anything on your site that needs to be securely transferred from your user's computer to your server. Everything is basically public information. So the rule of thumb is if you're taking money, if business is actually happening on your website, not somewhere else, then you need an SSL certificate. And don't get this confused with using PayPal. A lot of people put PayPal or PayPal checkout button on their website, and then when they click on that button, they actually go to PayPal to pay first, and then they come back. They get redirected back to your website. If that's the case, you do not need an SSL certificate because, again, the transaction's happening off your website. Guys, I hope that helped, and I hope that answers your question, Manesh. Guys, if you have a question you want to ask away. Just email us at contact@100mba.net, or you can use Twitter. Tweet at me, BizRepublic is my handle. We love to answer questions here on Q&A Weekends. Guys, tomorrow we got another question from a listener, and the listener asks, how do I choose my colors for my brand? A tricky one. We get into it in tomorrow's lesson. I'll give him my recommendations for resources for that. I look forward to getting into it. Until then, guys, I want to leave you with this. If you're listening to this episode and saying, oh my gosh, an SSL certificate is another thing I have to do. Oh my gosh, I never thought about all these little things I got to do when I start a business. Do not get overwhelmed. If you feel like you're going to forget to do it or it's just too much for you, just don't accept payment on your website. You can accept via PayPal or an external site or use Gumroad. All these services will let you check out your customers securely on their website and not yours, and you'll get redirected to your site again. You can just get started with that, and then if you want to have the checkout process on your website and then get an SSL certificate before you do that, that's fine. You could do that then. You can always change things around. Nothing is written in stone in business. All right, guys, I hope that helps, and I hope to see you in tomorrow's episode. I'll see you then, guys. Take care.